Much. As we talked about, academia industry are the two pillars of the society. We heard from academia. Now we have a turn to hear something from the person who is actually practicing it, coming from the industry. Our next speaker is Ms. Vinaya Vaidya. Ms. Vinaya, please come here. She's lead for management and leadership development HCD Fujitsu, and she's part of human capital development team in Fujitsu, and she's a postgraduate from Symbiosis, Pune, and she's from HR background. And more than that, she is also certified in Six Sigma Yellow Belt and level 2 of design thinking. You must have heard a couple of times. Design thinking, one thing you must look at Japan to learn there. Thank you so much. Vinay, over to you.
Thank you for the wonderful introduction and setting off the stage for me, sir. Well, this is a little about me, like I was introduced, and I represent Fujitsu India over here. So, Fujitsu is a Japanese organization with a global presence, and we are the number one in Japan for technology communication company. We are the 8th largest IT service provider in the world, and Fujitsu proactively contributes to sustainable developmental goals. So we will see what those are as we go ahead. We have a team of over 129,000 Fujitsu colleagues with customer base of over 180 countries. So that was little about Fujitsu. When I say that Fujitsu has global presence, it's a global organization. What I mean to say is our presence is in countries like India, Malaysia, Philippines, China, Costa Rica, Poland, Portugal, and we have around 20,000 plus employees across all the locations of Fujitsu globally. So in India, we based out of Pune, Noida, Hyderabad, Chennai, and Bangalore with employee base of 9,000 and plus. We were founded in India in 2001, and our global clientele base is of 200 and plus global clients. We operate 24 by 7, 365 days a year to service our clients. The primary language that we operate in at Fujitsu is English and Japanese. So we deliver services which are catering to industries in the FMCG, apparel, port, cement, steel, energy and utilities, logistic, retail, automotives, healthcare, and government sectors. So there is huge opportunity, whichever sector you choose. Yes, Fujitsu has its presence in those sectors. Fujitsu facts. To share a little more about Fujitsu, we are into telephone switching machines, 97,000 plus patents under Fujitsu's name. We are among the world's top 10 server providers, and of course, our headquarters are located in Tokyo, Japan. I just spoke about the group initiatives. I spoke about the goals that Fujitsu has. So Fujitsu is an organization which is inclined towards giving back to the society. We are all a part of a larger community, and it is our moral duty that when we contribute and we take so much of pride, there are few initiatives that are very close to every Fujitsuan, and these initiatives are group initiatives. With these initiatives, we intend to make the world a more sustainable by building trust in society through innovation. So we are an ethical organization, and we feel it's our responsibility to give back to the society in all the possible ways that we can contribute. So we also invest a lot of funding into the thoughts and innovation that our employees have. And the fund that we utilize is the Senkin Fund. Okay. The 5 pillars of the responsible business are community, diversity and inclusion, the environment, operating practices, and well-being. So our group initiatives revolve around these 5 pillars, and that's how we contribute to our, in our way to the society. These sustainable goals are in alignment to the United Nations, and Fujitsu's initiatives for these sustainable developmental goals have been through sustainable food and agriculture, well-being in aging society, and eradication of difficult diseases, promotion of innovation and human-centric workway, and the others, to name a few. So these are a peek into the initiatives that we drive through our GRIP programs across organization. We have a lot of wellness awareness sessions for all our employees. We give back. We have a lot of drives of contributing in our own way by having drives for maybe food and clothing, drives where we go and meet also the a little underprivileged sectors of the society. Having said that, Japanese language and culture training is an important part of Fujitsu. So, what we do at Fujitsu is when we have our employees hired for different projects, they go through various trainings. Now, it's just not industry based trainings that we provide. We are a very ethical and a close knit organization who believes in not only driving work but also imbibing the culture of Japan into our employees. This helps in collaborative effort, which all the eminent speakers have been talking about, and also uh, how we do it is we have around 200 hours of training for the N5s and the N4 levels. When the employees are hired, they are basically taken through the N3 and they're taken through the N5 to N3 trainings, for which we spend around 300 hours of classroom and virtual instructor-led trainings. The we have a lot of emphasis on how this training is conducted, the reading skills, the writing skills, the way of speaking and communicating, listening, mock test, a lot of assessments and refresher trainings are imbibed in our employees once they become bilinguals, which means they have completed the N3 level. That's when we also introduce them to Japanese business culture, the business communications, for new employees as well as bilinguals in case they have to travel to Japan. There is a full course of training of how life would be in Japan, what are the things expected out of them, be it culture wise, be it business wise. A lot of augmentation of all of those things is touched upon as a part of their training and culture. So this entire course would range from 4 hours to every 4 days. Okay, the delivery mode again will be online classrooms as well as in-house classrooms. So we have I really love this. We have this entire classroom which is called the Japanese classroom that we have, where we don't only give them knowledge about the language, about the culture, but we also offer them books to read. There are activities. There are a lot of miniatures from Japan, so it gives them a feel of the Japanese culture in that classroom. Again, these all things are driven through activities and common situations at work. A lot of simulations are given to them to understand how they can make a difference when they are in Japan, how they need to collaborate with their Japanese colleagues while they're working on different projects. And the most interesting part here that I would like to talk about today is the opportunities that we have at Fujitsu for all our students present here. So we're looking at experienced professionals in the Japanese sector for project management and Japanese translators. These are the requirements that we specifically have, and it's not limited to this. We have huge openings for all the bilinguals. In case you all are interested in pursuing your career with a fantastic organization like Fujitsu, you all can please send in your resumes on the email ID mentioned below. After this presentation, I would be there to talk more and discuss in case if you have any questions for me, in case you all want to discuss any of your career aspirations with us. I and my colleague Mitali will be here, happy to guide you through. Any questions as of now that I can help you with? I guess none then. We will definitely connect after this presentation, and I will be happy to hear from all of you. And thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to present my organization. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vinaya, to give the perspective of the industry, Fujitsu specifically. And the youngsters must get excited that it's not a study, there is a career attached to that. Thank you so much. Our next speaker is Kazunori Sasaki-san. He's from University of Tokyo, representative office in Mumbai. His background that he's born and brought up, studied in Japan. He is a graduate from University of Tokyo. And he's an academic researcher. And he's affiliated with several institutes and universities, a research fellow, and he's a visiting lecturer. He's majored in Indian philosophy and Buddhist studies. It's very important. Published several books on Indian philosophy and as either an author or a co-author. Have experience of ICCR Fellow of IAS, Shimla, and the Asiatic Society of Bengal, Kolkata, and he has learned Sanskrit from Professor Jha, who is the former director of the Center of Advanced Studies, Sanskrit, University of Pune. Sasaki Kazunori-san, we are proud, we are honored that you are here. Please enlighten us.
さあ、なますか。オーム、サカナババトゥ、サカノブナクトゥ、サカビルヤンカラトゥ、カラババヘ、テジャスピナビディティ、サクトゥマ、ビディビシャバヒ、オーム、シャンティ、シャンティ、シャンティヒ。It is, thank you. This is, I taught from my professor, my guru, Professor P.N. Jha. Yeah, he always start with this sakana babatana. Yeah, this is, very impressive, and I imitate. And, it is a great honor for me to have this opportunity to speak at this event. I would like to thank all members of organizer and present here. As a researcher in the humanities and social science, I would like to speak from a slightly different angle to the other speakers here. Japan has been very active in attracting international students with generous support for international students, including private and university scholarship that allowed them to study in Japan at no cost to themselves. Today, I'm going to talk about why Japan is so proactive in supporting international students from the perspective of Japanese history. I believe that the story also explains why the Japanese people have acquired such a meticulous nationality. As you know very much, the Japanese have invented a lot. But do you know the greatest invention of Japan people? Do you know? What is the greatest invention of Japanese people? Anyone have idea? 9? Okay. Uh, I think, the greatest invention of the Japanese people is the nation, Japan itself, actually. According to the mythical history book Nihon Shoki, a chronicle of Japan, the country of Japan was founded some 2,700 years ago by the first emperor Jimmu, a direct ancestor of the current emperor of Japan. He's Jim, no? Since then, the country of Japan has inherited the founding spirit of the time of its foundation and has continued to this day. In other words, the founding spirit has supported the country's prosperity for 2,700 years. What was the founding spirit of the country? It is a spirit of unity and solidarity based on mutual assistance. When in need, we help each other. Specifically, the Japanese deliberately switched at this very timing to rice-based diet people and created a network in which the entire nation grew rice together, stored it, and then shared it with each other when food was lost in disasters. The first emperor Jimmu is the main team lead who had advocated this idea. This is okome, rice. Originally, on this far eastern island, the diverse maritime peoples lived separately in small villages on small plains scattered along the coastline. The first emperor Jimmu urged these islanders, who were at the mercy of natural conditions, but who used to enjoy a free and prosperous life of fishing and gathering independently, to unite through settlement and rice cultivation. He promoted this policy, united those who agreed with him, defeated those who resist him, and founded the country of Japan. Japan has always been a country of constant disasters. All year round, somewhere in country, there were natural disasters such as earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, forest fires, typhoon, flood, epidemics, famine, and plague, etc. Okay. Surrounded by deep sea, there was little fear of invasion by foreign enemies. Also, disputes over land were rare because the country was mountainous and lacking in plains. Human habitation was limited and the land was not suited to settled agriculture. Above all, they were too busy to have time for war, dealing with the constant threat of disasters throughout the year. In those days, Japanese people's main source of livelihood was fishing at sea. But seafood was perishable and did not last long. If a disaster struck, for example, and people were unable to go fishing for some reason, they would instantly find themselves in a situation of food shortage. When such a situation occurs, usually people immediately abandon the land and move to another place. The people had always had a weak sense of settlement, and if their place of residence became difficult to live in, they would not hesitate to move to another place, which was the natural choice of the local people. Concerned about this situation, the first emperor Jimmu focused on rice, which at the time was the only food that could be preserved in Japan, and decided that the whole nation should switch to staple food to rice, and as well as produce and store enough rice to last for 2 to 3 years, and that neighboring areas should provide rice to each other in the event disasters of shortage of food. You know, there are Shinto shrines all over Japan. Jinja, we call. These shrines are usually located on high ground and built on stilts. The reason why they were built in this way is that shrine used to be a warehouse for storing rice, a significant and indispensable foodstuff for their national system. This may be similar to how the cities of ancient Indus civilization in India built granaries on high ground. In other words, shrines were local centers of the nationwide rice stockpiling and distribution network introduced by Emperor Jimmu. And the Shinto priests stationed there were centrally appointed caretakers who were responsible for the source management of this important rice in Japan. In Japan, mochi, rice cakes, and sake, rice wine, are still offered to the altar at New Year's Day puja, both at shrine at home, which is a custom that also stems from the connection between shrine and rice. Although we have mentioned a system of stockpiling and the mutual exchange of rice, it was not an easy task to establish this system. The Japanese were originally a maritime people who mainly fished, and there was only a limited amount of land suitable for rice cultivation. So in order to produce enough rice to supply the entire population, it was first necessary to cultivate a commensurate amount of farmland. Furthermore, rice, originally a tropical crop, could not be grown in subtropical Japan as it was, and special farmland called paddy fields had to be developed to cultivate it. Paddy fields are flooded with water, so the ground must be perfectly level to prevent uneven water levels. It is also necessary to precisely calculate and prepare water channels to ensure that water is evenly distributed to all paddy fields. Care must also be taken in flood control to ensure that paddy fields are not inundated in the event of flood. This is why precise civil engineering technology developed very early in Japan. In addition, because the country is prone to frequent disasters, the Japanese have devised construction methods that anticipate disaster from the outset, which has contributed to the development of unique Japanese nation character. In other words, because it is impossible to prevent disasters from occurring, so it is important to anticipate the possible damage and reinforce weak points in advance. In addition, preparing for the case something would go wrong, even though they had got reinforcement, and a system must be in place to ensure that it can be quickly repaired. This attitude of anticipating everything in advance and making the first move naturally became part of Japanese national character. Even today, for example, Japanese cars are less likely to break down, and even if they do, they are easy to repair. This is because they designed cars as such from the outset. Recently, cars from various countries have gained popularity in India in terms of exterior design, luxury, and power performance, but superiority of Japanese cars is still unassailable as long as they keep the top rank evaluation in terms of being long-lasting and unbreakable. Okay? However, these characteristics is not all good. It is also linked to the overly cautious attitude of the Japanese, who tend to think too much before making a move and miss opportunities. In a sense, this is the opposite of the character of Indian people, which is good at responding quickly and flexibly to any situation, called jugaad, I think. In any case, the often quoted evaluation of the Japanese as meticulous, punctual, rule-abiding, have collectivist culture, and reserved can be tracked back to the fact that they choose to live with natural disasters by settling in this disaster-prone country. As you have seen above, the Japanese people laid the foundation of a civilization that has continued to the present day with the invention of mutually supportive nation of Japan by the emperors. Later, Japan went through various twists and turns, such as introduction of Buddhism all the way from India and its fusion with Shinto shrine. But the system was finally completed in the 8th century AD during the reign of Her Highness the Empress Jito, the 41st emperor. Having seen the completion of the structure of the country of Japan, which had been worked out by 41 generations of emperors, Empress Jito wondered what she could do to further strengthen the foundation of the country and ensure its perpetuity into the future. The result was the compilation of 2 books, namely the Nihon Shoki, Chronicle of Japan, and Man Yoshu, Anthology of Myriad Leaves, and the use of these 2 books in education. Sorry. The Nihon Shoki is a history book describing a history of founding of Japan from the mythical age, while the Man Yoshu is a collection of poems describing the spirituality of the Japanese people. Empress Jito gathered together the young priests and administrative officials who would later be dispatched throughout the country and expected to become pillars supporting the nation, and had them study the origin and founding spirit of the Japanese nation side by side, using these 2 books as textbook. The young people who would lead the next generation learned, sitting knee to knee, what the country was founded for, what system their predecessors had put in place to achieve this, and what hardship they had overcome before establishing such a system. This was in the hope that by sharing their views of state, these officials would help each other and work together for the good of country when it comes to practical affairs. Empress Jito believed that shared vision among those in charge of practical affairs was the basis for the country's survival and prosperity. Empress Jito's vision succeeded, and Japan has enjoyed 2,000 years of prosperity ever since. Even more remarkable, this school of history was also extended to people from foreign diplomatic missions. Okay? Empress Jito probably thought that if the youth of neighboring countries, also get to know Japan, as well as the use of her own country, there would be no mischievous tension arising from misunderstandings with surrounding countries in the future, and the relations could continue as friendly countries for a long time to come. At the time, Japan was visited by delegations from various countries, including the children of foreign aristocrats who had been forced to leave their homeland and were looking for coming back to their homeland to make a new start. And also foreign students who came to learn about the system and structure of this unique country of Japan. Empress Jito sent these foreign students to study together with Japanese cadets who would soon be leading Japan. This has helped to maintain good relations among neighboring countries when the foreign students and the Japanese cadets have subsequently taken up important positions in their respective countries. In other words, for Japan, which is surrounded by sea and has a little direct contact with foreign countries, the presence of foreign students who understood Japan and returned to their own countries with a sense of familiarity have ever been the traditional greatest diplomatic tool. So far we looked over the background of the Japanese national character, which has continued to the present day. It can be seen to lie in, firstly, is the origin of Japan as a nation founded on mutual assistance to cope with disasters, and secondly, the education system introduced by Empress Jito to strengthen and perpetuate the nation that was so established. In the process of the story, you may have also learned that Japan has traditionally used the acceptance of foreign students as a means of diplomacy. Now, in the light of this, what I, as a Japanese citizen, knowing above said history, would like to say to you all is that you should not come to Japan directly to get a job, but rather as a foreign student. If you want to come to Japan to work, you could visit Japan as a technical intern rather than as a foreign student. However, considering the current job market and salary levels in Japan, it may be more advantageous to look in other countries for this purpose. However, Japan is still a very attractive destination for students who have a life plan to return to their home country after graduation and either find a job or start own business. Japan, as other speakers in the audience have introduced in detail, is a safe, low-cost, and special country where you can get a formal education and build special contact that will last a lifetime. What is more, as I mentioned a little earlier, I believe the Japanese national character complements the Indian national character. Japanese people respect Indian people's quick-wittedness and responsiveness, whereas the Indian people shall find the Japanese people's preparedness, meticulous planning, and dexterity very useful as business partners. In this sense, the experience of studying in Japan, where you can gain a strong partnership with the Japanese, will be maximized when you return to your home country to work for its development, rather than staying in Japan surrounded by no other than Japanese. I want you to utilize the experience you would gain in Japan for the development of your home country, India. If you have such aspirations, I strongly recommend you to study in Japan to make a big change in your life, as well as in your homeland history. That is all for my presentation. Thank you very much. for your kind attention. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kazunori Sasaki-san, for giving a good perspective of Japanese history and culture. Thank you so much. Friends, ladies and gentlemen, now we have to make an important announcement, as you heard from Siddharth, that IJBC, of course, has a plan and we believe in action. And from an educational point of view, we have to take a lot of action. So we are announcing one important thing now. We are signing a MOU with, we means IJBC is signing an MOU with Code Tots Japan KK. And we'd like to invite Siddharth-san, Siddharth Deshmukh, and Tamiko Ohaba-san come to the dais. So both the parties here agree that they will sign the MOU, and the scope of MOU is to collaborate in the space of HRD and women empowerment, academics and research, commercial stroke business matchmaking, cultural exchanges, and solution for SDGs. So this is the scope MOU, and it's a very auspicious start for today. Thank you for coming together here. Tamiko Ohaba-san and Siddharth-san. Thank you so much, and I request Tamiko Ohaba-san, Ms. Tamiko Ohaba-san, to stay on the dais. Our next presentation is from Ms. Tamiko Ohaba. She's director of Japan India Women's Forum, and she'll talk about Japan Tech Career Program. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Can I start? Okay. 皆様こんにちは。はじめまして。My name is Tamiko Ohaba, and I'm very glad, very glad to join this program. And thank you very much for the wonderful MOU, this timing, and we hope we make a good partnerships from now together. I start. In Japanese, some message for you. It's very difficult to talk to you with my heart message. So I'm sorry I talked in Japanese, and she translate my partner Shreya. Translate it. Yes. My name is Tamiko Ohaba, and I born in Yokohama. Perhaps somebody knows Yokohama City. And I come from this year 4 times. But I don't, 日本語でいいんだ。それでも私は 横浜にいましたけれども、まずインドとの深い歴史を知りませんでした。
Tamiko-san lives in Yokohama, a city based at Japan, which is very close to Tokyo. She has been associated with India past 40 years.
ただ、私がこの生まれた目的をこの地球のために役立てたいということだけが私の思っていた一つのコミットでした。
Hi. So her main purpose here right now is to be committed towards Japan and India relationship.
で、そして運命的な出会いが今から40年前に起こりました。その運命的な出会いはラビンドラナート・タゴールが日本に5回来て、そして3回、この横浜三景園というところに来て、彼は、日本の、素晴らしいエネルギーを感じて、そして日本とインドの素晴らしいパートナーシップを作りたいと願ったことでした。
So Tamiko-san's inspiration and guru is Rabindranath Tagore, who visited Japan, and she's been taking principle and guidance from his philosophy and passing it to the youth and younger generation of both the nations.
でその40年前から私のミッションが、変わりました。そう、私は日本とインドをつないで、しかもタゴールの100年前に願ったミッションを今私たちがつなぐ、そして私たちが未来を作る、そのようにすることが私の目的ということを私の心が決めました。
So 100 years ago, it was mission of Rabindranath Tagore to collaborate Japan and India together, and with Tamiko-san and all the delegates of Japan and India, we will make this vision happen and bring this future together.
そして今回のこの素晴らしい模様になりました。今私たちは先ほどもお話がありましたけれども、地球は大きな変化をしています。もちろんそのコロナ、この3年間のコロナが大きく私たちの心を変えています。
So we are very glad to sign the wonderful MOU today with Indo-Japan Business Council. Lately, we have all encountered Corona, and our lives have transformed majorly because of that.
ただ、私が思ったのはこのコロナがあったからこそ私たちは今何をすべきか、今平和とは何か、環境をどうすべきか、それを考えるこの3年間がいい時間になったと思います。
Yeah, considering the life after Corona, we really have to think how we live from now onward, how we take into consideration all the SDG, and how we together work in this society with AI.
私たちの命は100年前ではなく、昔の未来からこの命は生まれてつながって、そして過去が今を作り、今が未来を作る。そして今私たちは一緒にいます。
Okay, this has become a little difficult translation for me, but let's together make future wonderful.
です。合ってます。合ってます。これから AI も仲間になります。日本は特に今 AI が仕事をするので、僕たちの仕事はなくなってしまう、分かったとすごく心配をしています。だから今日本の学生たちはそんなに勉強もしなくてもいいかもしれない、そんなにこの、コミュニケーションの、語学を勉強しない、みんなこれでツールで翻訳をするのでというふうに、彼らは思っている子どもたちもいっぱいいます。
Now, nowadays, generations are so dependent on AI that we are living our life together with artificial intelligence, and we need to consider that into our lifestyle.
で今私たちは AI、 私たちは人間です。人間ができることがあります。それが一番大事で、全てが人間のこのマインドが AI とも一緒に仕事をする。全てベーシックは私たちのマインドが大事だと思います。
Yeah, so now we are all living with AI, but we have to consider that AI is just a machine, and we individual are training AI. But how we can balance our life with AI and human beings, it is very important in this digital world to reconsider.
全てが、命、この私たちの人間たちが頭で考えるのではなく、私たちの願いは心で、私たちがこの今地球に生まれていること、そして私たちのそれぞれのミッションが何かをそれぞれコネクトして、そして私たちは素晴らしいコミュニケーションをして、ジャパン・インディアの新しい架け橋とともに地球の素晴らしいタゴールも願った新しい本来の美しい地球を一緒に作りたいと願っています。
Yeah, so we individuals often think using our minds, okay? But it is very important after Corona and after what hardship we all have encountered, it is very important that we think from our heart and we create a new civilizations with AI together.
コミュニケーション、日本語をスタディオブジャパン、スタディオブジャパニーズ、ぜひとも習ってもらいたいですけれども、このコミュニケーションは、ツールであって、ぜひハートトゥハートのパートナーシップになってください。そして素晴らしい架け橋を一緒にできることを願います。
So we are all here and we know that we have to learn the Japanese language to visit the country or to interact with Japanese people. But it is very important that you understand and feel the language. Like arigato itself is a mantra for Japanese people. So it's really important that you understand the language from heart and continue this partnership with us.
今ブディズム、日本はインドからブディズムがやってきました。ありがとうございます。ブディズムがたくさんの素晴らしいマントラのようなエネルギーの日本語を作りました。で、一つがありがとう、Thank you very much、どういたします、You are welcome is a、たくさんの日本語がブディズムからできています。そのように日本語を学ぶときにはテストの日本語だけではなく、ぜひそのブディズムのマントラの日本語のエネルギー、それを感じながらコミュニケーションをとってもらいたいと思います。
Yeah, so Buddhism came to Japan through India, and words like arigato, doitashimashite, it's derived from Buddhism. So really, Tamiko-san wishes that you understand the Japanese language and connect heart to heart and experience this beautiful culture and lifestyle.
毎年横浜ではディワリー・イン横浜というイベントを開催してきました。今年20回目になります。
Hi, so Tamiko-san has been organizing an event, Indian Japan Festa, since 20 years, especially known as Diwali in Yokohama. And lately, in October, she had celebrated with around 50,000 Indian and Japanese people participating.
今年は3万人以上の、みんなが参加をしてくれて、一緒にセレブレートをしました。
Around 30,000 plus people participated and celebrated together this wonderful festival of India.
来年はぜひプネでもまた素晴らしいこの私たちの架け橋のイベントを私たちも開催をさせていきたいと思っています。
So in future, together, all of us, will be creating a very, very amazing and brilliant event that we all can participate and invite everybody in Pune.
まず最初の目的は SDGs をゴールを実現すること、それぞれがそれぞれのミッションをクリアにして、そして日本とインドの、あとは世界のエネルギーが一緒になって2030年までのまず SDGs をみんなで実現をしましょう。
So it's very important that we all consider SDG, that is Sustainable Development Goal. They have a mission till 2030 to change the world and to change how we think about the world it is. So together, let's make this mission possible before 2030.
今私たちがその未来を作るパートナーシップです。そして、このミッションは、私にとってはタゴールが、実現できなかったミッション、それを今皆さんと一緒にできることをとても嬉しく思います。
So SDG goal number 16 says partnership. So to make this future together, we need to collaborate and make this happen possible with each other's efforts.
毎日のプジャ、私も毎日祈りをしています。プジャをしています。祈りもすごく大事だと思います。そして素晴らしいビジネスをこれから、皆さんと一緒にすることも大事。そのバランスを作りながらということをこのような素晴らしいカンファレンスを通して実現できることを光栄に思います。
So Tamiko-san performs puja every morning, and she believes that the balance between spirituality and business should be maintained. So looking forward to this wonderful relationship that we are creating.
じゃあ次ね。ありがとうございます。これからよろしくお願いいたします。シャンチシャンチシャンチ。Thank you so much. And we introduce.
So, hi. So thank you so much for your time. So we would like to introduce Kotoz Japan. About me, I am Shreya Jaswal. I've been associated with Tamiko-san since 2015, and together we have started Kotoz Japan. So our main mission here is to spread awareness about sustainable development goals, about opportunities in Japan and India, about actually making it available for the audience what Japan is, what the university in Japan is, what life in Japan is, so just making it aware, enabling with the skills that is needed to live there, to work there, to experience there, and thirdly, to empower all. So we believe the world is one. Together, let's make the change happen and the mission possible. So we have a small video. I'll just play it for you and then we will end this session.
Japan is an organization based in Japan. It has launched Japan Tech Innovation Career Program for engineering students. It conducts live classes on video conferencing. The curriculum is designed for engineering students to help them to understand the latest technology along with learning Japanese language and work culture. Its aim is to help students for completion of their internship with leading Japanese companies. As a part of student exchange program, Code Talks aims to update the students on current technology through faculties of leading institutes in Japan. It provides a platform to students for exploring their career abroad by interacting with faculties and students from leading institutes of technology in Japan. Prominent Japanese brands such as Sony, Honda, Panasonic, Hitachi, Toshiba, Sanyo, Casio, Canon, Minolta, Pioneer, Nikon, Fujitsu, Suzuki, Toyota, Mitsubishi, and many more are expanding their operations in India in various sectors. Japan is synonymous with high quality and technologically advanced products. Demand for the Japanese language is high due to growing India-Japan relations and increasing career opportunities in these companies. Code Talk shall be providing all required supports to the students for suitable placement in Japan on meeting the required criteria. Japan Educational Tour is also a part of this program to enable students to physically visit Japan and interact with Japanese students, attend workshops at leading institutes of technology in Japan. During Japan Tour, students will visit industries, important sites, and will interact with Japanese team of Kotots, engineering institutes, and industries. The tour to Japan shall be scheduled for the students once Japan Tourism.
Yeah, so thank you very much. Japan and India right now have really entered a new era. So in 2013, when I had first visited Japan, I did not encounter anybody in Shinagawa, that is very popular city in Tokyo. I did not come, I was all alone, went for a project, and I wanted to make Indian friends. But the situation was I couldn't even find one person in Shinagawa who was Indian. That was a true story for 10 days. But now situation have drastically changed. I have been living in Japan past 2015, and there are so many Indian families that are living together. So we really hope by 2025 we could have 500 students in Japan working and living together. So please, go to www.kotots.com and register yourself, and looking forward to work with you all. Thank you so much.
ありがとうございます。ありがとうございます。じゃあ最後に、ビデオをご紹介したかったんですけれども、一つ大きなプロジェクトを、こちらにインドに持ってきています。このプロジェクトは大学が国と組んだプロジェクトです。フリーでジャパニーズレッスンをこの iPhone でするという、プロジェクトが進みます。私たちはインドに紹介をしたいと思っています。で、最初に1億人のあらゆる人たちが受けられるようなシステムをインドで紹介していきたいと思っています。大丈夫？英語で。
Yeah, so Tamiko-san has just collaborated with one of the organization in Japan, which has ties with governments, and they are on a mission to teach Japanese language from JLPT N4, N5, N4 to N3 for free to around 10 crores students. Yeah, so it's the first project. So we'll be starting with that project also with IJBC together. Thank you. So, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Tomiko-san. Thank you, Shreya, to give us the vision behind Code Dots. And we'll sure make this MOU successful. We'll look towards taking all the action points here.